Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. Is your host, Steve Larziliere. Today's guest is Issac Hartman from Hartmancabinetry. How you doing, Issac?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Steve.
Excited to have you on. Tell everybody about the history of Hartmancabinetry. How'd you get started?
Well, it's a little bit different because I'm not the business owner, but I came on full-time in May working for my dad. He started making cabinets when he was in high school, basically. Went to college and said that isn't for him. He got in it full-time in 19, and it's been doing really good, and that's where we are right now. I'm working with my dad every day and love it.
Cool. So back then, how did the business get started?
I think he basically just learned in Wood's class and kind of took off from there. And he basically got to the point where he was like, I'm pretty good at this. So he was, I think, 15 years old making kitchens. And my grandma was driving him around town because he couldn't drive yet to install them. And I think it was 19 when he actually decided to make it a business. And I know it's a little bit different because he's not on here. I'm on here in place. But that's just, I've been trying to get into the marketing a little bit and grow our brand online.
That's awesome. What kind of clients do you work with right now?
Right now, it's pretty much residential in St. Louis, about an hour from where we're located. We have about 7 or 8 contractors that we primarily work for. We work for homeowners too, but right now it's pretty much the contractor sends us the job and we got plenty of work to go around.
What's been the most crucial set of tools that you've seen in your business?
I would have to say our technology and equipment in our shop is really where it makes our company who we are, kind of, because we're a small company. We only got 3 guys and then my dad inside the shop. But we've always relied on new CNC equipment and the best equipment you can get because it really gets the job done more efficiently. That's how we're able to put out a lot of product in a good amount of time.
Yeah. Do you think what's been since you started working there, what's been one of the challenges that you've sort of seen as you've been working?
I think one of the most challenging things so far is finding good help in today's world. I know I'm a little bit different than most people my age. I just turned 21.
Okay.
So most people my age don't have a good work ethic, and it's really hard to find good help. And we actually just picked up a kid who graduated high school last May, and he's really turning out good for us. So he's turning into a good pickup for us.
How, maybe it's interesting. If your dad wasn't the owner of this business, what do you think drove you to this line of work? And even this new person that you hired, I'm curious, how can older business owners attract and retain this newer generation? Because you know what the older folks are saying about you, right? Like,
I have an idea. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like they don't want to work. They're lazy. They just want to be on their phones, right?
Yep, I know how it goes.
Right? Like, I mean, it's not too often that we have, 20-year-olds on the podcast at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe I'll turn it into a how to attract and retain Gen Z talent for your wood business. Break it down for me, Issac. Seriously.
Well, I basically got into it. I grew up learning on a table saw on a saw stop when I was 6. And so my whole life has been wood, growing up in the cabinet shop every summer. Came on full-time when I was 16, probably 15-ish every summer. Not full-time, part-time every summer. And then when COVID hit and we picked up, we had 5 months of school off. I really started working a lot. I was like, man, I'm pretty good at this. I'm getting the hang of it. Just setting up equipment and basically installing too. And then I went to tech school for CNC machining. I got a job somewhere else in the machining trade, the metalworking trade. And I was like, this just ain't for me. I realized, man, I got it pretty good working for Dad back home. So I came back for him to work. And then we picked up that high school kid. He was working at Walmart. He was like, man, I like working here. It's 5 minutes from my house. And he's really starting to enjoy it and get good. But I think it's really hard, as you know, to even have anyone our age interested in a trade, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What are their options if it's not the trades? Like, what are their options? Like, what are you finding your peers? What are they wanting to do?
They most likely go into like something like sports business or maybe a health management position, or I'm from more of a rural community, so there is a lot of people going into different trades.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's just mostly work down in the city for bigger companies.
Yeah, yeah. What does the trades have a stigma?
I feel like growing up, it was kind of frowned upon. It was always taught go to college and get your bachelor's or get your degree and then get a job somewhere big. But now I think right about my senior year, it started hitting. People started pushing trade school more. And I was blessed enough to have parents to teach me to get good grades. And then with that, I got the A+ scholarship, which paid for my trade school. I came out debt free, which was awesome, which I highly recommend to everyone my age to look into. It's just going there. I went for 2 years, got out debt free, and now I have a great paying job.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what I mean, do you guys have a plan for this other high school kid? Like are you thinking about nurturing them, or you, like him, and like how what kind of program do you have him on so that, he'll want to stay?
Yeah. So he basically came on learning. He's basically our cabinet assembly man. I think I have a video in my Instagram showing him what
Mm-hmm.
he does. But he came on running our CNC Anderson Stratus, basically running that, edge banding parts and assembling cabinets. And that's pretty much an entry level position here because our equipment allows that to be an easy job.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of thinking he's going to be my Eddie. What I mean by that is my dad, his number one man, Eddie, he's been here 25 years and he's
Wow.
our finisher. He's one of the best. So I'm kind of thinking if Matt stays good at this, maybe he's going to be my right-hand man someday. I don't know, but he's taking on a lot more skills running. He just started assembling doors a couple weeks ago. Picked that up pretty good, and maybe he's going to stay here a while. Hopefully we treat him well and keep him here.
If you were to come up with a program to help inspire high school students to go into the trades, how would you market and present the opportunity, and like what do you think their first opportunity is?
Well, I've actually thought about that a little bit.
Have you? Yeah.
Reaching out to my local high school about the career fair. They already had it this year though. And maybe some surrounding high schools just get our name is known, but not in this area as much because all of our work isn't in this small community. So I just want to kind of maybe join with different teachers like woodshop teachers, and actually a lot of schools are starting like CNC metalworking equipment. I could help with that. And I really just want to take the first step and even get in a career show and get our name out there, maybe get them interested in a trade.
Yeah. And then how would you sort of, so if you're going to show up where they're at, like what are you going to try to, like how would you like try to sell them on the idea of the trades? And then once they come in, like what do you think the path is to help grow them so that they could be like an Eddie?
Yeah. Well, first I'd probably focus my efforts on more of the tech what's the word? The wood shop classes, or they call it Project Lead the Way, where they do programming, coding. Our school has school off on Mondays, and we usually pick up a high school kid or two just to run some equipment, run some product through machines, sweep up. And a couple of them, it's like, man, he's pretty good. So maybe we should try and push them our direction. And I definitely have to steer towards those classes and talk to them, present what we do, because what we do is really kind of different in our
And
community.
it's really cool. You're building kitchens. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. It's like you take nothing and you turn it into something.
Yeah, just raw
And there's this
lumber.
whole manufacturing process, right? Like, I don't know. I'm thinking, I'm like literally thinking about one of the, at a certain point with manufacturing, especially in cabinet shops, it's people like, you know what? I don't really need marketing or sales because I have, like you have 4 contractors that give you tons of work, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so your bottleneck is that you don't have enough people. And so the next level is like, how do you recruit more people, and how do you because cabinet shops is like kind of like a dying trade, right?
Yep. I feel like in, I don't know, 20, 30 years, there's not going to be, all those people are going to be retired out of it.
They're going to be retired, and it's going to be robots in Asia building all of this stuff. Like
IKEA cabinets.
It's going to be crap cabinets. And so for me, I'm like, oh, this is a great profession for young people to go into. And so that's kind of like why I'm asking these questions. Like, let's solve this big problem. Let's figure that out, So, okay. So once they're in, you're targeting, so you're going to show up at the career fairs, show up at the places that they're into. You're going to target the kids that are in the shop classes and the coding classes, the alternative sort of non-traditional classes.
Yeah.
And then you're going to entice them by, maybe putting them, like having them see what you do. And then let's just say they're like, all right, I'm interested in this, right? Like, what can you do to, like, what does that first year or two look like? What are they working on?
So it's basically going to be like when Matt came on, you're going to have entry-level jobs to do in the shop. But our entry-level job is quite a bit different than a traditional smaller shop. I mean, we are a smaller shop because we have 4 people total, but we're putting out product like a bigger shop because we rely on CNC equipment. And so I think if we brought someone in that first year, he's at month 5 or 6, and he's really picking up most of the skills already, building doors, dovetailing drawers, running our automated chop saw, running our CNC routers, 2 of them. And we don't really want to keep one guy on one task because then it gets boring and monotonous, and you don't want to come to work every day. So
yeah, that's cool. And for you, what are you thinking is the, how are you personally and professionally developing yourself, right? Like, because there's only so much you can learn about, building boxes and cabinets and installing them. Like, how are you thinking about growing yourself?
Well, I've been actually thinking about that a lot lately. I think the first step is, have you heard of Mosaic?
Yeah.
That's what we run in our shop. So I've been trying to start up the class on it, and we have 2 computers that run it, and then we run the paperless shop app on Surface Books throughout the shop.
Cool.
But I need to start learning that software first. And then while I was at tech school, I learned Mastercam. So I already have toolpathing knowledge and programming. I just want to do that on a different software that we run here, AlphaCam. And then I think once I learn
What's that software called again?
AlphaCam.
AlphaCam. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mastercam, but more of the wood version for the wood industry. Once I learn that software side of the trade, I'd like to eventually do ride-alongs to meetings a little more, and then learn how
Maybe
to
get into sales.
Yeah.
designing and then quoting in sales. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that I don't know what goes into that. So it's a lot to learn for me.
That's cool. That's really, really cool. All right. So tell me so this is a part of podcast where I give you any marketing or business advice. Is there anything that you guys need help with that I could help?
I think my main focus was how do we attract more help in general, like just more working hands. I've thought about getting more active on LinkedIn. I know there's opportunities there because our number one problem is we're in a rural location and we can't find anyone.
You're in High Hill, right? Yeah. What's the near are you an hour from St. Louis?
Yep, we're at about an hour. And if you know where Columbia is, we're an hour from Columbia, so right in the middle on 70.
So for me, I mean, you don't need a lot of people in order for you to solve this. So correct me if I'm wrong. Your biggest challenge right now is like you'd like to help find more people. Is that it?
I'd say, yeah. I know
you don't have a problem with getting business because you're busy enough.
Yeah, we mostly rely on word of mouth. We just have so much work.
Okay. So, but you're right in between Columbia and St. Louis.
Yeah.
So, look, I mean, the one thing that I see is, I mean, kind of like the idea that we were brainstorming with. I put together a little program on, Hartman Cabinets apprentice program. Put together a PowerPoint because I know you learned that in school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would put together a PowerPoint and do an overview of, who you are, what you do, and then have a paid internship for 3 people, and they have to complete a certain number of tasks in like 5 or 6 weeks. And you can do that this spring, and it could be like an after school program. And then whoever gets, at the end of that, then they get a full paid thing during the summer. And ideally it is for juniors who are about to be seniors and they're going into their senior year. And then you can like literally scoop them up right before they go to college.
I like that.
They decide on what to do. So like I would contact all of the different high schools within near you, right? Let's just see high schools. So look, there's Montgomery High School, Warren County, Herman, Battle, Parkway West. You know all those schools, right? Then you played them in Mexico, Jersey Community, Columbia. Put together a one sheet and then hit up the guidance counselor or the career day and say, hey, I'm a recent high school. You're 20, right?
21, just turned 21.
Yeah. So I'd be like, I'm a high school graduate. I went to trade school. I now work for my family's cabinet shop. We're always looking for opportunities to give kids, young people, the opportunity to grow and thrive in this industry, because it's a very lucrative and a well-skilled industry. And so we want to put together, can I come in and do a talk? Literally, it's like, can I come in and do a talk?
Yeah.
A career day talk at your wood shop or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when you're there, do a little PowerPoint and just say, hey, look, take a picture of this QR code and apply to do this internship. It's a paid internship. It'll run for 6 weeks, and then maybe you can run like 2 cycles, right? I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of kids between all of those schools, right? You could do 2 cycles. One day is like a Tuesday, the other one is a Thursday. And then like watch, you're going to totally, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then at the end of the 6 weeks, whoever is hired, then they can go into a formal apprenticeship program and they can get hired to work during the summer. And then during the fall and the spring, if they work out, they can continue to work with you on nights and weekends, part-time after school. And then if it works out, then you give them a full-time job upon graduating.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, during the summer, we usually I like that idea, apprenticeship. During the summer, we really kill it. We pick up another high school kid, and then my brother, he is in his first year of tech school where I went, State Tech.
Yeah.
And he is in automation and robotics. So
That you
he's
could
pretty,
like program the CNC.
yep, to learn
Yeah,
PLCs and coding. He's going to be an essential part of our team eventually because I think an advantage we have is we are capable to upgrade and modify something if we see a problem with it. We actually
sure.
built a machine that copes the end of door rails. And I'm hoping someday we're going to have a machine shop in the near future and start
Yeah,
fabricating these machines and put them in trade shows. I got a lot of plans in the works. It's just we got to get through the busy season
yeah,
first
yeah.
to,
Well, you gotta eventually replace yourself.
yeah,
That's the first thing is that you gotta build up. You gotta solve one problem first,
yeah,
and then work on the next. Yeah. Was that helpful?
yeah. I like that idea of bringing on kids and introducing them just going to schools.
You just set the expectations. We're like, hey, this is the thing. If you don't show up, you don't show up on time, you're out. If you don't do
Yeah,
this, you're out. Like you're like, yeah, this is how we feed our family. Like this
yeah,
isn't this isn't a game, right? Like, and I would even ask the guidance counselors for recommendations as well. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I like that.
um, but dude, that was great. And congrats on your success and your family's success, and
Thank you,
your
Steve.
your your dad putting on the podcast instead of himself. So
Yeah. He didn't really get into the social media thing. He never got to that because he always was working. But I started
yeah,
up
yeah, yeah.
for us, and I think he's turning around. He's like, man, this is pretty cool what you got going here. So our Instagram's really taken off lately. It's
Well, I
growing.
think I mean that's a good strategy, and let me know if you need help with that. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, man. Oh, how can people follow you? What's your Instagram and your
Our
Facebook?
Instagram is Hartmancabinetry, and it's the same on Facebook. HartmanCabinetry.
Cool. Thanks so much, man. I'll talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
Steve.